Let's talk about Monica Lewinsky while we're talking about inappropriate behavior. The press on Monica Lewinsky has done a full 180.
Yep.
And she's getting the Ryan Murphy treatment out of Hollywood. He's the guy who did The People versus O.J. Simpson, which was amazing, that series. And then he did another one, and now he's taking on the Monica Lewinsky thing with Bill Clinton through the eyes of the women. And so we're going to see Linda Tripp and Monica and I guess Janet Reno. I don't know who else is going to be involved. But you tell me whether, because, Monica Lewinsky, basically, you listen to her today, JD, and it's all about, she was sort of the first Me Too victim. And the press killed her. Fox News killed her. Drudge killed her. And I got to be honest, that's about all I've heard Monica Lewinsky talk about for the past 20 plus years. I think she's sort of stuck in that place. I don't know whether this is a good thing for her or not, but what do you make of the way that story is being covered now in the wake of Me Too?
Have you seen the first episode of impeachment?
No.
So I did watch it. I mean, listen, I remember when that was all happening. I mean, the Drudge Report obviously was where you got the information with the scandal. Listen,
it made Drudge.
It did. And going through that, during that time, we were all transfixed on this story about an intern and the most powerful leader in the free world, Bill Clinton. And I recently watched an interview that she did as a young woman, still in her mid-20s. And she, was so well-spoken for that, time of her life. I remember being in my mid-20s. I didn't know what was going on, to be in that kind of position of being an intern at the White House. That's quite incredible. He's a predator. There's no question. And there were many women besides Monica Lewinsky. Yeah. So I have a soft spot for her, and I only wish her the best because she was put in this situation, which was quite impossible. And she, said that she was in love with him. Well, being that impressionable woman in the White House with this powerful man, it's hard not to be affected by that. And so I watched the first episode, and all I got from that was he is disgusting. And the fact that I saw him at ground zero with Obama and President Biden, he's still getting a pass today. And he is the original predator and the most powerful predator that we've really ever had in this country.
Now, you give yourself too hard a time when you talk about the 25-year-old you, because you and I both know you were out there. Was that before or after you were a dog catcher?
Yeah, the bylaw enforcement officer. Yeah,
I love
giving out tickets.
It's a very fun history. Go back and listen to my very first long form interview with JD. It was amazing. Adam, what do you make of it? Monica Lewinsky through the post Me Too lens.
Well, I mean, obviously it's always tough because Clinton is such an icon of the Democratic Party. And yet, what he did arguably is 1,000 times worse than Cuomo did.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really just break down the actions, it's important that we sort of separate the Al Frankens from the Harvey Weinsteins,
yes,
or even the Clintons from the Cuomos, or Bill Cosby from the Cuomos. The big problem with the Time's Up and the Me Too movement is to take everyone and throw them in the same hamper. We'll put them all in the same together. I don't care if you're Al Franken and you're playing a joke on a USO tour, or you're Bill Clinton who did what Bill Clinton did. You're all in the same hamper. This is part of the problem with the zero tolerance committee.
There's no proportionality.
Zero tolerance for everything. So if you comment on a woman's appearance or you pat her on the behind, you're in the same boat that Clinton was and what he did in the Oval Office. It's a big mistake. You could never prosecute a case this way. This isn't the way our system is set up. So, fundamentally, we have a problem in not being able to parse out and sort of nuance what are sort of jaywalking tickets versus murder one. Mm-hmm. And what Bill Clinton did was murder one. It also shows he has an addiction. I mean, it shows he has a problem, because there are plenty of guys, and there are plenty of cases where older guys like younger women. I think we can all sign off on that premise, and where guys in power abuse their power. But here he is, the president of the United States, and he couldn't keep it under control for a very short period of time.
Right.
You know, he literally couldn't, you know, it'd be like saying, you know, are you an alcoholic? Well, I like to drink. Yeah, but are you an alcoholic? Well, having a few beers when you're watching football doesn't make you an alcoholic. But if you have to fly a commercial jet airliner and you drink that day, then
right.
you are an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
And what we were saying to him is, you got to fly for the next 4 years or 8 years. Can you stay off the stuff while you're in this incredibly important position? And the answer was no. So by definition, he has an addiction.
Well, and it's like, because we're not just talking about Monica Lewinsky when we talk about Bill Clinton as the original Me Too'er. I mean, sadly, not the original. You could go way back. There's a lot of them. But, you know, there's Juanita Broderick. There's Kathleen Willey. You could go down the list, JD, because, you know, Paula Jones, allegations of rape, sexual assault, and so on. I mean, very severe and criminal. And he paid a lot of women off to make them go away with the help of his wife, Hillary Clinton, and a whole band of brothers. I mean, the truth is, George Stephanopoulos was one of them. And George Stephanopoulos is hosting morning TV right now, despite the fact that he put together the Clinton War Room that was dedicated to tearing down every single one of those women. And I really wonder whether these Me Too advocates are one day going to turn to George Stephanopoulos and say, where's your apology? Where's your accountability, right? It's not just about him, but he's somebody who's completely escaped the questioning that came in the wake of that movement.